This meeting of the Oak Park City Council is called to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk Ed Norris, please call the roll.
Mayor McClellan.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Radner.
Here.
Councilmember Burns.
Here.
Councilmember Rich.
Here.
Councilmember Weiss.
Here.
We have a quorum. Item 4, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have the consent agenda. These are routine items presented as a group. Any council member can ask to have one dropped and discussed. A, regular council meeting minutes of June 4th, 2018. B, recycling commission meeting minutes of February 15th, 2018. C, request to advertise for bids for the 2018 Pocket Parks construction project, M689. D, licenses, new and renewals, as submitted for June 18th, 2018. I'd like a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We have, for a visiting elected official, our Oakland County Commissioner, Helene Zach. Always very informative.
Good evening, everybody. I am Helene Zach, one of your 2 Oakland County Commissioners. I represent the east side of Oak Park. Wanted to tell you a couple of things going on. I don't know if you've officially heard from the Southeast Michigan Council on Governments yet. SEMCOG, I serve on the board, and I also have been on another committee that votes to approve federal pass-through dollars that come into communities, transportation alternatives, safety, some other types of grants. And the city of Oak Park actually will be receiving funding and several grants through SEMCOG. We voted on it. One of the awards is almost $500,000 to expand the MOGO bike share program from Detroit into the cities of Berkeley, Huntington Woods, Ferndale, Royal Oak, Oak Park. I'm really excited about this opportunity. There will be some match dollars, but we are moving bike share here and working with the city of Detroit. Oak Park was also put in a planning and study of 2 road corridors for Coolidge and 9 and 11 Mile with the city of Huntington Woods and Berkeley, and that was also approved, and the total project cost is about $19,000. And Oak Park is also part of one of the 14 communities of the George W. Kuhn Drain District, and there was a project on regional green infrastructure plan and code audit for about $50,000. So it's wonderful that the city of Oak Park is taking the time to apply for these special grants, and also you will be receiving funding. What happened this year was that they found some additional money that they were told by the federal government, use it or lose it. So we actually voted on about $11 million worth of projects. I thought I was going to have to fight for projects, but it was great. Another thing I did here, so I talked about how Oakland County worked for years in creating our own DNA lab to take care of communities, and I understand that the DNA lab helped the city of Oak Park and something in the last month or 2. There was a 3-day turnaround on the DNA results, which helped some legal process. This is amazing because it used to be months that you'd have to wait from the state DNA lab. So it's really exciting that we have this newer service for our residents in Oakland County. I also serve on the Area Agency on Aging 1B, representing 6 counties. And what this organization does is it administers the federal and state funding for vulnerable seniors in our community. And roughly about $44 million comes through this agency. And one of the advocacy issues that they've worked hard on for years now is called the Silver Key Initiative. And what they did is historically the state would fund nursing homes. So when you need more services, they would put people into nursing homes rather than fund services to keep people at home. And it's much more cost effective, and people want to age in place in their homes. So there's been a lot of education and advocacy in the state trying to educate them that it makes sense to put more funding into these community living services, the Silver Key Initiative. And so in the proposed state budget, there will be a 6% increase, a $2.5 million for these community living services at home. Since 2014, the state has funded over $13 million to keep people in home. In addition, Oakland County in this budget year found another $600,000 to help vulnerable Oakland County citizens. Unfortunately, we had way too many Oakland County residents that were rated the worst at-risk group, and so Oakland County invested in trying to get people off the wait list, even with this additional funding. One of the things that we do with our tax dollars is our health department, our public health. I talked about, opioid and workplace presentation. So something came across my desk again in the last couple days, that suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. now. And we have seen a 31% increase in Michigan in suicide rates since 1999. And this is among the age range of 15 to 34 years. That's a really significant public health issue. So one of the ways to address is that the Oakland County government public health, in collaboration with many community service providers, started this suicide prevention initiative. And they work with all the school systems. And there's a lot of really beautiful materials. And if you're interested in these materials, they can be found under www.oakgov.com/health. And at the top of the page, it talks about partnership initiatives. And if you go into that, you can see the suicide and other collaborative educational materials. And there's wonderful materials, what to do, how to proceed. Finally, about a month ago, we had Youth in Government Day, which is really a fun opportunity. Usually I get Oak Park schools. I didn't this year. I had Ferndale schools. And it's another opportunity. I had juniors from Ferndale come and join us. We had a couple hundred students from Oakland County schools come and experience what it's like to be a county commissioner. And they argued 3 different types of resolutions and problems, one of which, should we mandate clear backpacks for students to prevent violence? And they overwhelmingly voted no, but they had a lot of wonderful ideas of how to make our schools safer. They also visited the court. They have Q&A with our chief judge and a family court judge. They saw our K-9 unit at the Sheriff's Department, and they had a lot of other interactive problem-solving initiatives, and they have lunch with the commissioners, so we get to know them. So I do hope to see Oak Park schools there next year.
How would they apply? Everybody
gets a letter and follow-up inviting them to attend. And one of the things that we did last year is we wanted to make sure that no school, transportation costs money, and so we have found some funding for those schools that can't afford or don't have transportation, so that's not a barrier of attending. You have to have a willing teacher that, wants to go. And Oak Park has really joined us a lot. They just didn't come this year. Any questions?
Very informative as always.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and
Thank you.
sharing all
Excuse
of
me,
that.
Elaine. I do
Oh,
have one question.
one question.
Just when you're talking about the funds disbursement, the last $50,000 that you mentioned, I forget what funding you
It's
said. that was.
coming from SEMCOG, and the project type is called Regional Green Infrastructure Plan and Code Audit. Review and assess existing stormwater, design standards, and drainage and zoning ordinance that create barriers to green infrastructure for the 14 communities that go into the Q and drain. This ordinance review summary will include a scoping document that will serve as a roadmap for future efforts to develop a district-wide model ordinance.
Thank you.
That's the better
Meredith?
description. Very creative planning. Probably thank you, Mr. Yee, for leading that.
I think that's the George W. Kuhn training themselves and the Water Resource Commission probably worked on that for all the communities that are members.
That's great. Thank you.
Next, we have a sidewalk program presentation. There are always a lot of questions when it's your community's turn to redo sidewalks, and we're here to clear up some misconceptions. And this is Director Robert Barrett.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Acting City Manager Yee. Mayor's right, I just want to do a quick presentation about the sidewalk program because it affects everybody in the community, and the council will get questions, and it's not a popular program. So we'll talk about the why, when, where, criteria, the cost, and the new financing option. The main reason to have a sidewalk program is, we want to have safe sidewalks. We want to have city, pedestrian-friendly city. And we want to follow best practices which will limit our liabilities and lawsuits. The MML has a handout for risk control solutions about sidewalk programs. And the last page of that, they have 4 basic questions to determine an assessment of your city's risk. And the 4 questions are, does your organization have and enforce a sidewalk repair program? Does it have established repair criteria? Do you have a long-term replacement plan? And do you inspect and repair defective sidewalks in a timely manner? We can answer yes to every one of those questions because we run the program. And by answering yes to all 4 questions, showing we're working best practices, which doesn't prevent us from getting sued for liabilities, but it does reduce our exposure to claims. When and where, I provided you guys all a map so you can have and use it as a reference. But this year's, the program started in the 1990s, specifically 1994, and we do a manageable half square mile a year, and we went through the entire city by around 2006. At that time, we reassessed the program, and we decided to do a half mile every other year, a half square mile, which started in 2008, and you can see the effective schedule in front of you and on the screen. This year, we're assessing and inspecting the area north of 10 Mile and south of Lincoln. This was last completed in 1999 for most of the area. That was 19 years ago. And additionally, if we receive a complaint outside the sidewalk program area, we have a responsibility to go out there, inspect the property for our criteria, and assess the property and do it within our miscellaneous sidewalk program or miscellaneous concrete program. Criteria. As the mayor stated, there's some misconceptions of the sidewalk, and a lot of property owners and homeowners will be under the impression that there's nothing wrong with their sidewalk. So I won't go into detail about cracks and vertical separations, but what is difficult is settlement issues where it appears that there's nothing wrong with the piece of concrete at all because it has problems with the slope or the drainage. And basically, the sidewalk runs as a set of sidewalk flags, and it continues to drain typically towards the drive approach one way or the other. What happens because of several issues, freeze-thaw, trees, sewers, whatever, the sidewalk can start going up, and when the sidewalk starts going up and it's on its way heading down at the drive approaches, you have an area that's called a converging flag where they come in on each other. And when they come in on each other, not only is that difficult with somebody with a disability, it's an area that can hold water in the wintertime. So those areas might look okay, but it comes down and then back up, and those are converging flags. And the other one that looks okay that's an issue is called a cross slope. A cross slope is the slope which way it's sloping sideways, if I will, towards the house or towards the street. Typically, the cross slopes are established to go towards the street, and once it's established, it can't revert back towards the house. Americans with Disability Act has a spec that says the cross slope should be 0%. Okay, that is unrealistic when you want to try to be out there and running 0% slopes and you're trying to deal with water drainage. But they have a maximum criteria of 2%. So where a slope sidewalk might look like there's nothing wrong, it may be sloping excessively towards the street or sloping back towards the house. Those are questions that we can, when we meet with the homeowners, is one of the most asked questions. We have to explain the criteria for that. Cost. Some people believe the city is making money off the city sidewalk program. This is not true. In Southeast Michigan, many communities put administrative markup on the program. I'm very pleased and proud that when I'm out there explaining what we're doing, that we are not making any money at all. There's no admin fees or costs onto that. And I think it goes a long way because there's this initial assessment that we're trying to make money off that, and it's really great to say we're not. Sidewalk program is publicly advertised, competitively bid, publicly open to the city clerk's office, read out loud, references are checked, and it'll be before you at the next city council meeting at the July 2nd, so it's awarded by the city council. There's all transparency in the process and above board.
Some people think they can get it done cheaper. Can you talk to that a bit?
Well, basically, if you deal with economies to scale, is we're going to run about a $500,000 sidewalk program. You get into a circumstance where the homeowner has an opportunity to hire their own contractor. Buyer beware, because if somebody's doing it cheaper than us, and I've been in sad situations where they've actually hired somebody and did not know what they're doing, and they end up paying for it twice because it can be done, but usually not successful. Back to the cost, property owners, after the project is completed, they're billed the exact same cost that we're paying the contractor. I'm going to emphasize there's no markup with our program at all. Financing, another great relief. In addition to not having any admin fees, one of the greatest problems I have when I'm meeting with residents is that there's a financial hardship to them when they're being faced with large sidewalk bills. Last year, City Council presented and approved finance options, which when I go out and I do my re-inspections is going to go a long ways. If you can see up on the screen or in front of you, we have 3 finance options. Is basically when they get the invoice in November, they're going to have about a year to pay it, and it'll be due in November or so of August of 2019, which is about 10 or 11 months for anything over 1,000. And then anything between 1,000 and 2,000, we'll assess them, do the extra work, set up a special assessment district for 2 years at $6,000, and anything over $2,000, the city will front and finance that money for 3 years at 6%. Program timeline, I briefly mentioned that we will be awarded the contract on July 2nd City Council meeting. During the first week of July, we will mail the sidewalk cards out. It'll have the frequently asked questions flyer that's in front of you, and it'll have the financing flyer that's in front of you, and it'll also have the sidewalk card, which is a legend explaining what piece of sidewalk we inspected to be replaced and what the estimated cost is. All that'll be mailed out the first week of July, which usually generates a lot of phone calls. And you guys might be fielding some of them too, because everybody's surprised and taken back by that. So we have traditionally and continually will set up a time for re-inspections where I will take time out of my personal schedule to go out and meet with the residents, to answer any questions and explain to them why we're taking this piece of sidewalk in front of their property. I'll also be taking Gerard's with me, and I'm ultimately going to hand some of that responsibility over to Gerard's after we do, a few weeks worth of inspections. I think it goes a long way to set this time out to help explain why they're spending their money on these things. And lastly, that's my presentation. Any questions?
Wow, that's very complete. Any questions from council?
No.
Wow. The financing program is new this year. It's very informative knowing how many years you have until your next sidewalk issue.
Yes.
And there's a question and answer section. Is this going to go on the website?
It's currently on the website. Our sidewalk map schedule is on our website, and so is our frequently asked questions.
Right. Right. Yep. And so the questions and answers are all the ones that we hear the most often, and clear answers, and you're not the first one to have that question. I think it was our section is this year, but someone complained about the street last year.
Correct.
So we fixed 6 flags in front of my house. And when someone complains, I can commiserate.
Correct.
So it's keeping us safe. And I think a friend was walking by and tripped because there was a raised section, and an elderly person, and it's clearly not safe. Clearly not safe to do this. And I learned a lot being the mayor about sidewalks that I didn't know before. And if you have questions, feel free to call anyone on council or the director, or check the questions and answers. I'll bet your question's answered on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night.
We should share this with other cities. This is tremendous. That's good information. Let's see. Next we have water and sewer rate presentation. Can you introduce yourself? I think.
I'm Kevin Vandy Wall, the water supervisor.
Thank you.
Nice to meet everyone. All right, good evening, everyone. Today we're going to talk about the Oak Park water and sewer rates. The city's combined water and sewer rate is devised to ensure that we're charging adequate rates to fund the maintenance and operation of our systems. In order to make sure the city is not charging inadequate rates, in fiscal years 15-16, we hired a professional consulting firm that's the preeminent regional authority on rate structure. The results of that study recommended a 7% combined rate increase for the first 3 years through fiscal years 18-19. The city only passed a 4.25 rate increase in fiscal years 15-16 and a 5.9% or 5.97% rate increase in fiscal years 17-18. The proposed rate increase for fiscal years 18-19 was 4.5%, followed by a 6.98% increase in fiscal year 19-20. The proposed combined water and sewer rates would not be sufficient to cover project operating, maintenance, replacement, and debt costs. So based on a recommendation in the forecast and in conjunction with the assumptions used in the preparation of the 18-19 Water and Sewer Fund budget, a combined rate increase of 14.65% is effective July 1st, 2018. Even with this rate increase, the city is anticipating a negative net change in the water and sewer fund balance of $782,000. The proposed combined water and sewer rates for fiscal years 19-20, fiscal years 2021 are tentatively scheduled for 7.5%, which is going to give us a negative of $28,000 in our net fund balance, and 7.7%, which is going to put us in a positive net change in fund balance of $600,000. At the bottom, you can see on the PowerPoint there is an example of a minimum bill. Anywhere from 0 to 5 units of water with the 14.65% water and sewer combined increase, as well as a solid waste increase, it results in a $12.37 increase. The new rate minimum bill is going to now jump to $112.22 versus the old rate, which was $99.84. So what comprises your rates? So there's a lot of things. First, your water usage and consumption, basically anything that passes through your water meter. Annual rate increases passed on to the city from Great Lakes Water Authority and Oakland County for sewer disposal. Cost of administration, capital improvements, and maintenance of our system. Cost of debt service, our portion of bonds issued for the Coon Drain project. Water loss, such as main breaks, leaks, fire hydrants. Water and sewer fund balance required for guarding against unforeseen circumstances, such as water main breaks, lawsuits, bankruptcies, and also the solid waste fee, which is the garbage and rubbish. Our next slide talks about where we place in our surrounding communities. Here's a comparison graph of the Oakland County 2017 water and sewer rates. As you can see, we're not the only one that raises water rates. Although we're not the lowest, but we're still not the highest. We fall right in the middle. So why are these capital improvement projects important? Preventative maintenance of our infrastructure reduces the risk of catastrophic system failures, such as one up there in a PowerPoint that costed Fraser millions of dollars to fix. So we're investing in being proactive, trying to have funds available just in case something like this were to happen to us. Why do we have a fund balance in a water and sewer fund? Well, by reinvesting in our infrastructure, the city is doing what it can to guard against system failures, but water main breaks and catastrophic events are still possible. It is critical that the city has a fund balance to safeguard against these unforeseen circumstances. How can you bring down the costs at your home, you may wonder? One of them is check for leaks. Running toilets and dripping faucets can be costly. Catching a leak early can save you money. 90% of the time, toilets are usually the culprit in high water bills. If you'd like more information on how to check for leaks, you can visit our website, give us a call. We'll be more than happy to walk you through that. Also, shorten your shower times. Turn off water while brushing your teeth or doing dishes. You can easily read your own water meter, keep track of your own usage. Basically, you take the read from the beginning of the month on your water meter, subtract it with the read at the end of the month. That gives you your difference, so you kind of pretty much know how much the water, how much not the water that month. Also, turn off water when needed. So if you do find something that's leaking, there's valves located at your water meter. I suggest everyone know where their water meter is located at. Exercise these valves, so make sure that they are working in case there is something leaking and you have an emergency and you need to cut that water off, you can do so. Our last slide talks about what is the city doing to help you manage your costs. So recently we entered into the RAP, which is a Water Residential Assistance Program. It's designed to help qualifying low-income users. We also provide information on several organizations that do sometimes help with water bills. So if you're financially in a struggle or on a fixed income, if you give us a call, we do have these numbers on hand. We do give them out if you do need help with your water bill. We do also allow one late charge removal per calendar year. And we also offer payment plans. If qualified, it's a small down payment. We take the remaining and we have 5 equal monthly installments. Offer prepayment options. So instead of waiting for your 3-month bill, basically you choose your own amount, send us in the payment, we'll apply it towards your account. By the time your 3-month bill is issued, you'll have already paid towards it, or you'll have a credit on your account. Also, residents can contact us and request assistance in checking for leaks. Kind of like we talked about earlier, we have appointments where we send someone out to your home if you're uncertain of what to look for, and he'll reread your water meter, make sure we're getting the accurate reads, and go from there and take a look around inside your house and outside your house to make sure that nothing is leaking anywhere. Also, lastly, we do send out abnormal usage letters. We do take a lot of pride in doing so. What happens is when we do get that read and it comes in our system, we take a look at that and compare it with your last year's usage. If it's something that's abnormal, we do send a letter out to you guys and to verify. You may want to look and see what's the cause. If you can't find out what that is, you can just give us a call and we'll schedule a reread and check for leaks appointment. And that's the end of my presentation. If anyone has any questions.
Thank you. Other questions or comments?
No, thank you. Very well done.
I think one time I had a toilet running, and you don't kind of catch it on the bill for 3 months, and it was a $1,000 bill for a little toilet run that you don't notice. So be real careful. If there's just a little drip in your sink, it adds up very quickly. Toilets running or a hose left going. And we're here to help. It's a wonderful department. They're not bearers of good news, but they're there to help you. Thank you for your presentation.
A quick comment, Madam Mayor?
Yes, another question.
Just a comment. And when talking about ways to reduce water usage, you can get from Home Depot just a little valve to put in your shower. Costs maybe like $10. You can turn off the water when you're not using it and save a lot of water that way as well.
Huh. Thank you. Very good. Next, we have special licenses, item 10A. This is special event request and waiver of fees submitted by the East Oak Park Neighborhood Association for their annual picnic to be held in Best Park on July 21st. We have historically waived fees for neighborhood associations and block clubs. Is there a motion to grant this request? and
So
waiver?
moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Discussion?
I think we should do it.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
this is a great picnic. It's phenomenal. It gets bigger every year. So I'm glad that we're approving this today, hopefully.
Right. And I heard they're doing corn. I will be there. Thank you. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Please take a look at item 10B, which is a special event submitted by Janelle Smith, 8611 Troy, for street closure to hold a graduation party on June 30th, 2018. First, we need a motion to grant the request.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Discussion or questions? Can someone speak to generally, do we, we just need to grant this. They're not asking for a waiver of fees?
They're asking to block a street.
Just block a street. Got it. Okay. Any discussion?
I'll just note for the record that this is a very short street, and it's often 9 Mile, but there's other ways to get around. There's Republic, and there's what's the other street?
I think the houses face the street, correct? It's like
Republic
side
and
lots.
Rosewood. What's that?
I believe it's just side lots too. I don't think any of the homes face the street there.
Okay. All right. So then that also helps us with the addresses that are listed here. That none of them are actually on Meadowbrook. of the addresses that are okay with the waiver. But
Yeah, and several
That's right.
neighbors submitted that they were fine with blocking the street.
Got it. Any other discussion?
Congratulations on the graduation.
Yeah, okay. All those in favor of granting this request?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Please take a look at item 11A, accounting reports. This is approval for payment of invoices submitted by Garen Lucal Miller, PC, for legal services in the total amount of $14,762.06. We need a motion to approve payment.
So moved.
Support?
Moved and supported. Questions? Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Burns,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes. Which is
Mayor Pro
correct.
Tem Radner,
This one's-
Councilmember Rich,
Yep.
Councilmember White.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. The next one, please note that there is an error on the agenda, but not on the item, the 11B. The amount is $18,000. That is the correct amount, not the $15,000. So, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Support?
This is for approval of payment of an invoice submitted by Howard Schiffman, PC, for legal services retainer for July 1st to September 30th, in the total amount of $18,000. So we've got a motion and support. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Radner,
Yes.
Councilmember Rich,
Yes.
Councilmember White.
Yes.
Okay, item.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns?
Oh,
Councilmember Burns.
that's right. Unanimous. Please take a look at item 13A, second reading and adoption of an ordinance to amend Chapter 82, Utilities of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oak Park, Michigan, by amending Section 82-313 thereof.
So moved.
Support?
Moved and supported. This is adjusting water rates. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Radner,
Yes.
Councilmember Rich,
Yes.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Councilmember Burns,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes, motion carried. Item 13B, second reading and adoption of an ordinance to amend Chapter 62, Solid Waste of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oak Park, Michigan, by amending Section 6292 thereof.
So moved.
Support?
Okay, discussion? Roll call, please. These were discussed last meeting.
Councilmember Rich,
Yes.
Councilmember Weiss,
Yes.
Councilmember Burns,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Radner.
Yes.
okay. City Attorney, is there anything you would like to add?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Thank you. I would just like to report that the City Attorney's Office will be attending the Library Board meeting tomorrow, Tuesday, June 19th, as requested by Council, and I'll provide further report after that meeting.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our city attorneys are everywhere, doing everything. Thank you. There is no city manager report tonight.
If I can make some comments, please?
Yes, please. This is our acting city manager, Kevin Yee.
Thank you. I'd like to first say happy birthday to Krista McLean, who decided to spend her birthday evening here with us, and we appreciate that effort.
Oh,
I would also like to say, to comment on Commissioner Zach's grant opportunities, the MOGO grant and the grant for the study of 9 Mile, 11 Mile, and Coolidge were prepared by both Crystal McLean and Kim Roney, and I appreciate their efforts on those. It is a great for us to be able to collect those grants and take advantage of those opportunities. And thank you to Commissioner Zach for voting in favor of those items, because they're very important to us in our community. I'd like to thank Kevin Vanderwall, Steve Lukasik, Jamie Winters, all not regular attendees at the council meeting, but prepared a great presentation. Kevin, great job. He's a a great story on working his way up, getting an education. He worked in the field for a lot of years and became a supervisor. So it's a great effort, and he did a wonderful job tonight, so thank you very much. Rob Barrett, I can say he's done this a few times, but putting together a sidewalk program is never easy, and the work that he's done with the financing and putting together the program, the frequently asked questions, and the report was a great job as well. And a couple people aren't normally here either, with Jiraj Searles and Dave DeCoster. Jiraj will be taking over a lot of those engineering duties, and he'll get very familiar with the sidewalk program here coming up. So we look forward to that, and I'm sure he is as well.
Thank you.
And then last but not least, we have to recognize Lori and the great job on Summer Blast.
Wow.
So I'm going to thank you for a great event here in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Great report. Next, we have call to the audience. Please give us your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Feel free to come on up. Sure, come on up here so the folks at home can hear. Is it on? Is the green light
Good
on?
evening, ladies and gentlemen. My
Yes.
name is Crystal Davis, and I'm an Oak Park resident, and I live at 144140 Oak Park, Elm Street, down the street. Do I have to hit this button? Okay. Well, I came to speak about the water bills. Ever since I've been a resident of Oak Park, my water bill has been extremely, extremely high. I've had people come out, plumbers come out several times, check my water. I've had new toilets put in. I've had new faucets put in. I've had the city come down and inspect my home maybe 3 or 4 times. I just actually, the ROC program he was actually talking about, they came out a couple of times and checked for water leakage. I don't have any water leakage. I have my toilets checked. I don't understand why my water bill is so high. It's just myself and my son hardly ever wants to take a bath. So I just can't understand why my water bill is so high. It's always anywhere from $600, $700, $800, and that's high. And I have had neighbors complain about their water bill, and I look over and it's a family of 5, and their water bill may be like $200 or $300, and my bill is just extremely
Is that
high.
every 3 months?
Every 3 months. I don't know who asked me
There's
that. But
gotta
every
be
3 months, my water bill is extremely high. So recently, I was in an accident, and so I wasn't able to keep my water bill up, so I found out about the RAP program. I went and applied for the RAP program and found out that in all the other cities around in the surrounding area for the RAP program, they'll pay the residents up to $1,000. But in Oak Park, they only opted for option 2, where they only pay the residents $300 to help with the water program. And I just didn't understand why. Because I do, I pay my taxes, I do keep my bills up, keep my property up, and I just don't understand why we wouldn't be able to get help when we need it. I just don't understand it.
Right, I know we do. Thank you, that does sound very high.
So I was just was thinking that was something that the community needs to be aware of. I understand the graph, and I've seen all of that, and then to say that the water bill is going to be raised in July 14% more, it's just outrageous. I just can't understand it.
Thank you so much for sharing. I'm sure you're not the only one.
You're very welcome.
Please talk to Kevin behind you.
And
right.
Commissioner Zach, could you speak about the RAP program?
All right, thank you.
So I don't understand, okay, first of all, I voted on the Great Lakes Water Authority. It was the most difficult vote that I've taken in my career as county commissioner. And there are a lot of organizational issues that they're working on to improve our rates. It was not a well-run system, and there was a lot of neglect previously. So at least we now have a voice at the table, and they're doing a lot to improve it. But just like we talked about maintaining infrastructure, we're playing catch-up in the overall, tri-county water system. I don't understand why there would be a difference between the RAP program and, the RAP was part of the contract with the Great Lakes Water Authority, was this residential assistance program. And I'm thrilled that Oak Park's participating. And I don't understand, why there's a difference if someone from Oak Park wants to question that, or it's actually Oakland Livingston Human Services Agency that administers the grant funding. So I'm not sure why there should be a differential. I'm not sure what the accurate figure is.
Did they tell
If
you
someone
why
wanted to
they-
call, or,
They said that the mayor opted for that. I looked down.
It's your fault.
none of
It
this
is your
make,
fault.
no, I hear you. I don't think any of this makes sense. So who's going to volunteer to make the call to clarify it?
That bill is
We
way,
need
way,
to,
way too high.
we need to check into it.
That's not the rates. There's something, I don't know if your hose is on or something. There's something wrong. There's something wrong. Your hose might be on, or there's something wrong. There's definitely something wrong.
I used to wonder why nobody would want to grant.
No, we can't have the crosstalk,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, because it doesn't
Sorry, I
show,
broke the
people at
rules.
home can't
So
hear it.
what about the RAP program? As far as the participation, there shouldn't be a preferential amount for other cities versus Oak Park. So should I check that out?
Please, that would be
And who would I
wonderful.
report this information back to? To you, Kevin?
Yes, Kevin Yee.
Okay. Will
And
do.
then we'll report it. Yeah, I'm sure you'll
And
report it,
they've
too.
got your contact information, and, okay, thanks.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Everyone else is happy? All right. I think that last time we announced that the state of Michigan certified Oak Park as a redevelopment-ready community, which is a major big deal besides just the celebration, because it means that we can apply for and get grants from the state of Michigan to do even more for economic development. And the reason that we were able to do this is we have a phenomenal economic development director, Kim Maroney, who made sure that we qualified in all these 34 different ways. Yesterday, the Baptist Church had their community outreach event, and our fire truck came, and the ice cream truck, and they had bouncing toys and things. It was a wonderful event. I got to be the judge at, I had the hard job of judging the best ribs. I know, it's tough, but somebody's got to do it. So they were delicious, and some of these people go on and get national honors after winning our local contest. I also attended the Detroit Athletic Club hosted the Michigan Chronicle event called Pancakes and Politics, and one of our Oak Park residents works with the Michigan Chronicle and invited me, and just walking into that very elegant building where everyone is welcome now, and it wasn't always the case, was a nice thing to do. The discussion was on women and jobs, and how sometimes women are kind of hard on ourselves and say there is a job opening and there's a list of things that are required for the job, say 20 items. So the man looks at it and says, I can do 3 of them and I'll worry about the rest of them. And so he applies for the job. And the woman looks at him and she says, I can do 19 of them, but I'm not sure about that 20th one yet, so maybe I'm not ready. So watch what we do to ourselves as women and take a chance out there. It was very, also, we had an Oak Park resident, Naja Williams, who interviewed me for her paper on big jobs. And Naja is a competent 5th grader who wrote a book in the Helping Fairy Friends series. This 5th grader has a series going. So this one was called Bringing Joy to Sick Children. She's interested in politics and was interested in learning about this job, so keep an eye on Naja because this girl is going places. Thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem.
I think the mayor's right. There's a list of 20 things you're supposed to do on council, and I do 3 of them really well.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming out. Have a good night.
Thank you. Councilmember Burns.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Please be conscious of the weather. Please stay in and check on our seniors. Also, I had the very great honor to work at the Summerfest on Saturday. It was a summer blast. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. I think that the DIA truck was just great. The DJ was wonderful. The band was wonderful. The crafts for the children was wonderful. Unfortunately, the weather was not in our favor, so our turnout was not as high as it normally is, but we still had a very great turnout and a very great event. Thank you and kudos to the Recreation Director, Lori Stasiak, and all of the other people and departments that assisted. Kudos to everyone.
Thank you. That was amazing. Everybody likes that climbing
Yeah, the
wall,
rock.
particularly. Councilmember Weiss.
I want to echo Councilwoman Burns' remarks regarding Summer Blast. It was a great event, Recreation and the Recreation Commission. Thank you, everyone who worked on it, all city staff, all volunteers. Additionally, on Friday, there was the Oak Park Library 60th birthday anniversary party, and it was amazing. I think they had about 500 people who came through, which for our little library is a lot. And there were a lot of fun activities and games, and everybody I talked to had a great time. So thank you to Director Brandon Bowman and to the library staff and Friends of the Library for helping pull that off. It was wonderful. I just want to let people know about a few quick upcoming things. Summer concert series start on Thursday. So Shepherd Park every Thursday through August. This Thursday, there's going to be a student showcase. So this is highlighting some of our local students, so please come out and show your support. It starts at 7 and goes to 8:30 in Shepherd Park. Also, on Sunday, there's going to be a special Easy Roll. Normally, the Easy Roll is on Tuesdays. We're going to do a special one on Sunday in partnership with the DIA Inside Out program. So it's going to be a tour of a lot of the different paintings that are throughout the city right now. And there will be free T-shirts for people, but come early because there's a limited number. It starts at 2:30, goes till about 4, leaves from the library. And then there's another Oak Park DIA Inside Out program coming up, the Senior Lunch Brunch, which is going to be Friday, July 13th from 11 to 2. We'll be going to Ernie's, which is fun, and also getting some free samples of Petite's cheesecake. Register soon. I don't know how many seats are left, if any. Are there any left? A couple. So register soon if you want to go to that. And then obviously 4th of July is coming up. So look forward to our 4th of July parade on July 4th. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Councilmember Rich.
Good night. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. There being no further business to come before this council, this meeting is adjourned.